All right, I think we can start, and we hope others will join during the course of this session. So, Martins, over to you.
All right. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Fortunately, I understand there are people joining from outside of our time zone, so perhaps a good afternoon might not apply. So this is the first of many to come. This is going to be a 2-day data science webinar. We'll be looking through data, understanding the concepts of business intelligence, and playing it especially with Microsoft Power BI. If you could move on to the next slide. So Tech for Charities, I'm sure some of you would be wondering who we are, like what is Tech for Charities and what's informed this webinar. So Technology for Charities initiative is a registered non-profit organization in Nigeria. We basically comprise of tech volunteers. It's not a profit-making organization. It's basically a group of technology professionals who have made a decision to give back. Yeah, what is the easiest and the most convenient assets that we have to give back is essentially the skills and experience that we have. So we've basically developed a platform to build a community of technology volunteers comprising of technology professionals and inspiring tech enthusiasts. So the goal here for us, or rather one of our key objectives, if you could move to the next slide, Aziz, a key objective for us is essentially to build a value ecosystem in Nigeria and potentially across West Africa, whereby we are able to continually build human resource capacity. Because clearly, I mean, if we don't start with training, who's going to volunteer? You need to be comfortable to a certain degree to be able to volunteer your services. So we're looking at continually building human resource capacity within the tech space for career development, and consequently, we hope that a large number of these individuals would obviously join our course and support our endeavors and projects that will be coming on stream. We'd also be looking at creating a community of tech volunteers. The whole idea is to build a community where we've got a resource pool and people who are in need of a technology service that can not afford it. I mean, if you're building an application or setting up an infrastructure for a health center or some community, it makes a huge difference if we're able to step in and provide the technological support. And also, which is one of the most important, we want to extend the chain of knowledge sharing. By this training, we expect that each and every one of us will also make endeavors to extend this knowledge, to share this knowledge for the good of all of us. Now, our facilitator, Aziz Busari, is one of us. We started this project in late 2018. I mean, it was just amongst us. We're doing as much as we can and tasking ourselves. But now we have put structures in place to bring on as many people who are willing to come on this journey with us. I would plan to keep this really, really short because there's a whole lot to cover. But as we go along the line, please feel free to drop in comments. There's an email address that has been provided. We would continue to share means to reach out to us. Please feel free to drop us a message and reach out to us if you have any questions along the way. All right, over to you, Aziz.
All right, thank you so much, Martins, for that very good introduction. And going straight into the actual event of the day, I would just want to say Thank you for taking time to join this session. And another thing that is worthy of mentioning is we have our other volunteers and directors on the call. We have Tayo Fatoki on the call. We have Simisola Oluwatobi Olusanya on the call. We have Gabriel on the call, and we also have Martin. Martin spoke obviously earlier on. So I would want to give background to this, and I know we have a couple of people on the call who have joined one or two of the classes at one point or the other, but the whole idea is to just give an overview of what we're about to discuss in the next 2 days. Right, we understand the buzzwords of data science, machine learning, AI, and all sorts, and we want to just bring this home and just give us basic insights into what we can get from the data that we have out there. So we've picked a certain area for the next 2 days, and this area is what we call business intelligence. And in the next 2 days, majorly today, we'll talk about how we can get insights from the data of a certain customer that deals with selling and marketing of products. And tomorrow, the knowledge that we'll gather today would apply that to a certain exercise that will be focused on what we all know about this pandemic. There's a data that we'll share later today, and we would be tasked to come up with a dashboard that speaks to the spread, the death rates, this for all of the countries in the world. Just so we want to even see if you've been able to pass one or two things across to you, and we'll appreciate if you can share your first dashboard that speaks to this COVID-19 after the course tomorrow on all of our social media, the LinkedIn, Twitter, and all sorts. So my colleagues too would give or shed more light into all of this during the course of this webinar. Right, going straight into it. I would appreciate if we can just note our questions down, especially these parts that I'm just going to take us through. You know, we've tried to put some things together just so you understand the concept of BI before we jump into the tool that we want to introduce you all to. So you'll be wondering, what's this whole data science all about? And I'm happy to tell you that it's beyond the buzzwords. It's a concept that allows you to bring, to get insight from disparate sources of data into a single repository, and everyone is just there's a self-service that allows you to get data out there. So right on the screen, you have evolution of BI. What is BI? BI stands for business intelligence. So we are taking, like I said, we are taking business intelligence, which is an arm of the very first layer of data science. If you remember what we said, we are focusing on fundamentals of data science. If you jump into the Python, the R, writing all of scripts, building models right now, some of you will most likely run away. So we are leaving this open to any kind of business you do, be it you're a student or you do this as an health professional or even a business intelligence specialist. Just understand the concept of getting insights or gaining insight into the data that you have. Right. So BI stands for business intelligence, and it simply means a tool that allows you to bring data from disparate sources together into a single repository, crunch them, do what we call deduplication. They may be duplicates. Do what we call data massaging, data cleaning, data modeling, and put it in a form that a tool, which in our case we are using Microsoft Power BI, would crunch this data and intelligently give you insights without you even doing so much. What you need to do is just to put data in the right format, pass it to this tool, and intelligently you get the insight that you desire. So in other words, it gives you, when you have a tool that talks to you, you have the data, you pass something to you, and it's telling you this is where you're supposed to go. So the concept is to say, for example, for the marketing people, maybe right now when you wake up in the morning, you have to pray to God to direct you where to go to. Do I go to Oshodi to meet a certain customer to do this, or I have to go to Victoria? So when you have the right tool in place, it tells you who to go and cross-sell to, or even upsell, or you go to for the first time to even sell to. So this and more are what we discussed during the course. So straight into it, evolution of BI. Before now, the first wave is what we call corporate BI. What is corporate BI? Several years ago, we are used to working into an organization where when we need insight into this data, what we need to do is go to the IT people, right? As an executive or at a chief marketing officer or anyone, even a sales officer would want to know how much we've done in terms of revenue, what is our expenses, what are those exposures that we have as an organization. So you go into the BI team to spool those information from your system, be it a bank, be it a telco, be it an agri firm, be it even a supermarket. So, so for example, in a regular store, they have system where they collect all the sales they've made. An IT person will be the one responsible for those systems, and they will expose the data to you. That's the first wave. Second wave is what we call analyst to end user. Second wave is at the end of the day, the people responsible for those systems I've been talking about, be it bank or any form of line of business, are strictly application developers. They are owners of the source system, but they have access to the data. So they go out of their way to give you the data that you want, raw data. But the second wave is saying you have probably a BI unit that is focused on analyzing those data. So they work closely with the IT people. So that is analyst to end user. The first wave is IT to end user. But I'm happy to tell you that we are in the third wave, and it's just what we call end user BI. End user BI means wherever you are in the world, whatever you are doing, anyone, be it the CEO, be it the sales officer, be it an intern, in as much you have access to the data, you can get insights on the mobile, anywhere you are, an IT user, an analyst, and everyone within the organization can get to use to get this dashboards and insights that we want. So, and what we are about to do is largely on the third wave. You have access to the data, you can create these reports and generate insights and do more. So what are the end user needs that, what are these end user needs, So because there must be a reason why we want to create all of these dashboards and insights to get all of these things. What do you need Microsoft Power BI for? First and first, you want to have access to what you do as an organization or individual. The other thing is you want your data very clean. By clean, we are saying, so for instance, as an organization, if an example is Aziz as a customer of a certain bank, you open an account while you're a UCOR member, right? Your sector remains NYSC. Maybe my NYSC was several years ago, maybe 12, 13 years ago. Till now, nobody has asked me to come and update that. Maybe they would ask me eventually when I attain some certain limits, maybe I'm doing a transaction as high as 10 million, they will now check my status. When they notice or detect an anomaly, they reach out to me before I can change it. But there's supposed to be a system in place that's supposed to have my data. So that means my data is not, it might be clean because it is right to be, UCOR member is the right thing. So it means that you need a system that allows you to even reach out to these people and make sure the data is clean. So Aziz as a UCOR member is the dirty data. So the framework for data governance and data data mining and right form of data and the clean data is a need for an end user. Mashup. So by mashup, remember for BI, I spoke about bringing data from disparate sources into a single source. So imagine Aziz of this certain customer that I've been saying or analyzing that as an internet banking to transact money to certain individual Y, and the same Aziz as a mobile app to maybe pay bills and all. So you want to be able to have Aziz at the 360-degree level to say, as the customer, I don't want to know the channels where you're doing all of this transaction. How can I have a single view of Aziz? So you need to do some mashup from all of those disparate sources into one. That's another need. Explore. You want to now be able to explore that data and say tomorrow. So for instance, there's something we call market basket analysis. It's like a recommendation engine to say, yes, I can see, I have an overview of what the sales is like for my organization in the last X years. So now I have 3 different products, for example, and I've got a bucket of people doing these 3 at the same time. I have another bucket of people doing just 1 or 2. So I want to apply the behavior of those people. Maybe the people buying those 3 together are within the certain age bracket. They live in a certain location, and I want to apply all of those things to other to the people that have just only bought 1 or 2 to see if they can take up the 3rd one. So the data will talk to you, and it will give you insights into the people you should focus to, so that you can have focused campaign. Remember today, for some of the banks, you receive some of the emails that do not even speak to you. Visualize, yeah. At the end of the day, you want to be able to have a pictorial view of all of these things we are talking about. So if you have a lot of code that is saying you should do this and do that, you may not be able to get insights into it. And at the end of the day, share and collaborate. So the good part of all of this too is that it gives you the ability to do all of these things and more. By share and collaborate, we are talking about one person authoring a report. By authoring, I mean creating that report, and you can share insight just so the things that you may not be able to even get out of this, your colleagues can get it, and your work is faster and better. Yes, so going straight into the tool, Microsoft Power BI. This tool is owned by Microsoft, and it's a combination of some of the tools that we are used to. So for example, I'm sure majority of the people, if not all, would have used either Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, and all sorts. This is a combination of everything. So I'm saying that because if you look to the top left, you have data sources, be it cloud or on-prem. Power BI can get data from those sources, and it allows you to do all of the mashups, the cleaning and all within that system, which we'll do. There's a certain, I'm sure everyone on the call would have access to the materials that we sent before now, I think day before yesterday. And during the hands-on session, we would have visibility into what we can do in terms of machine learning, cleaning, creating dashboards, and getting insight. So, and at the end of the day, you can now push all of these things to the web. So there's a web version of this Power BI. You have the mobile version. You can even push back to Excel. You can embed it into the application you have within the system, and so on. Right. How many? We have a system that allows you to connect or gain access to all of the data that we have. So what we are saying is you have over 80 plus data sources, both on premises and in the cloud, that we can get data from. So we have on premises, which could be the IBM, the Microsoft, the Oracle databases. You can have your Excel file. You can have the cloud. You can even get data from a website that has data embedded in it. So for example, the likes of abokifx.com, you can plug your Power BI into it for you to create dashboards that shows the trend of FX rates in the last X days, just so you see and permutate and see what it could be today and in the nearest future. Yes, there are 4 key levels. If you break the needs of the end user, there are 4 key levels. The first one is preparing data, which we'll talk about during the hands-on class. Preparing the data, we are not going to look into the database level. If you check the email that you received yesterday or the day before yesterday, there's a data sheet that has 4 different, there's a data file that has four sheets. We've already prepared it in that way. So you can further prepare more, which you will even do. You explore the data, and by exploring, you create all of those dashboards. What are the insights you can get from the data that you have? you visualize, and you share. So by preparing, you have to consolidate those 4 different sheets into one, merge, transform, remove what you don't want, clean it to a certain level, and you develop some analytics. The other one is exploring. By exploring, if you check to the right, you have some nice looking dashboards that allows you to dig deeper into the data that you have. You can drill down to even say at a certain location that we have the highest, a certain region where we have the highest revenue, who in particular is the manufacturer that is giving the most, and also you can drill down and you leverage on what we call quick insights without doing anything. You can type in form of normal English language to say who are my top 10 customers, and it gives it to you in names, in graph, and all sorts. All of these things are the things that we'll do in the coming minutes. Right. You can now visualize your data. You see there are different, in fact, endless charts that comes with Microsoft Power BI. And another thing what they were mentioning is Microsoft Power BI, unlike all other Microsoft Office suites, it's an open software that gets updated every month, as against every year for the Office suites. So let's see. Okay, so right, it allows you to bring stories to life with the data that you actually put together, and get all of these things shared, and you can collaborate with your people. Like I said, if you see the one on the mobile app, you are seeing your dashboard and you are doing some form of annotation. You can share it with your colleague to say, why do we have this certain figure? Why is this too high or this too low? We should have more, and share as close to you as WhatsApp. You don't necessarily have to share it via email. So all of these things are embedded, and I'm happy to take you through it in the next couple of minutes. Right. Okay. What are the things that we can do in summary? All of the things that we're talking about. You have real-time dashboards and interactive reports, which means as things are happening, you are getting it S-1. By S-1, I mean the nearest second. You are seeing things as it's happening near real time. Natural language query, which is the one I spoke about. You can ask English, you can ask your data English questions to say, who are my best customer? What quarter did you make the most revenue, and all sorts. You can do some custom visualization where you can create, so for example, if you're a water or fish lover, you can create an aquarium-like visuals that shows the bigger the fish, the more revenue you made for that certain attribute you're trying to represent. So you can create custom visuals, and once it's approved, you can make use of that. You can do the basic native Excel integration for the Excel lovers, and you automate your process, just so when you come tomorrow, you do not have to press anything. All you need to do is just view what has happened between the last time you checked and now, and you get insights out of all of the data you have pushed into Microsoft Power BI. Right. For the live dashboard, it looks closely like this. You have different, so for example, you have faces by browser on the dashboard. It shows what is happening time by time, and it largely comes in form of trends. Okay, you can see, let me come back. Just pay attention to the image to the right, and you see how the natural language processing, the NLP I've been talking about, where you ask English. I know my screen is blank. I just wanted you to pay the basic attention. So you see electricity from coal, nuclear, gas per year in USA. It automatically gives you a dashboard, right? So it's another one. You can visualize your insights in the context of your business. So this you're seeing, is a diagnostics summary of a certain engine for a manufacturing company. So they built this visuals specifically just so it's almost real. It's near real. And what it means is they want to see the summary of what the performance of the engines are. So from it, it shows if it's of low pressure or high pressure, and also all of these are the things that you can do more at the customization level. Right. Deep integration with Excel. You can publish this in back to Excel online, and you can easily ingest data from Excel. Okay. Another thing that you can do is, without even typing or writing so much, you can get your insight real quick, like just passing your data, and in 2-3 seconds you can generate this insight. Okay. Yes. Some of the questions that we received in the last, maybe all the time that we try to even talk about this tool and every other tool around BI, is security of the data that we push, because we understand that for you to be able to collaborate, you're sharing this information online. And I'm happy to tell you that Microsoft Power BI has the largest global footprint in terms of security alliance. So a member of CSA, ISO 27001, Gov UK. If you see, they have about 34 primary backup data centers worldwide. And if you're in China, you don't need to build all of these reports in English, you build it in Chinese, and a whole lot of security bodies all around the world. So you're sure of your data security. Right. This is not about just making. I do not work for Microsoft, but just so you are sure that you are learning a tool that has been the best in the last 11 years. Year on year, back to back. There's a Gartner Quadrant report that comes out every year, not just for technology reports, and even in technology, it's not just for anything analytics or data, for software and all, that tells you the tool that you should go for. Breaking them down into what we call leaders, the challengers, the visionaries, and the niche player. All of this, you can check them out. It's called Gartner Quadrant. Just type it on Google, and you get all these things you're talking about. And you see Microsoft leading up there, being the leader in analytics and BI platform. I'm happy to tell you it's been like this for the last 11 years. So you're learning the right tool for this purpose. Also, the same quadrant from Gartner is saying Microsoft is leader in data management solutions for analytics. So there's a difference between managing data, which is a step before this, that is largely within the database. How all of those sources sent from those banks, those industry, those the ERP solutions, even the supermarket data, that the way this data is being stored, right? And managing this data, the system. So you see Microsoft being a leader also in data management solutions for analytics. Okay, right. Like I said, it's an open community, so you can join this thriving community going to community.powerbi.com. As we speak, we have over 103,000 users, and because it's a growing community, different ideas are being submitted at different times. So we have about 17,000 ideas submitted, and the active ones are over 3,000. So this is a community that has about 1 million community members worldwide. There are also what we call different user groups, where we have independent Power BI user worldwide. We have about 222. We have local ones in Africa. We even have in the world. You'd see there's one down Africa here, and we have majority of them in Europe and in America. So you can join user groups to share ideas and learn more. Right. So there are different industry solutions that we can showcase. I mean, the case studies of, for example, Amazon. All of those things that you would see that you buy a certain item, before you pick the second one, they will have suggested something that you really, really like, and you'll be tempted to purchase. All of those things. KPMG, Hitachi. It's just a world-class BI solution. Right. So there are free infographics, free books, free reports that you can get online, and you can get started with all of these things by just going to powerbi.com. You can explore by sharing your data stories too. And so for example, what we plan to do tomorrow, sharing all of these things and all. I think it's now time to build our reports and dashboard so that you can own your own data. We can have a break of say 2-3 minutes where I can take questions on. I can see there are a couple of chats already on what I've discussed so far. So if there are none, we'll just start this in 1-2 minutes. All right, good afternoon, please.
I'm just joining. Sorry, I'm myself coming late.
Okay. Good afternoon, please. Do you have a question?
I think I wouldn't want to draw you guys back. I'll just continue from here.
Okay. Anyways, it's just been, we'll share this definitely. We've only been discussing the possibilities and the insight you can get from different data. And largely it's just things around Microsoft Power BI. And I'm sure you got an email from the team on the data. You should have this one I'm showing on the screen with you.
Yeah.
And okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question, please? Guys, it's about to get interesting. Just get a cup of coffee or water or whatever you like. And next 1.5 hours promises to be very interesting and educative. Would want you to share your dashboards tomorrow. That, like I said, today is just for learning. Tomorrow is going to be a lot of trying our hands on the exercise, which is building dashboard that relates to COVID-19 cases. We will share the data sets this evening, just so you can even start to check them out and picture what you do. Or maybe we'll send it in the morning tomorrow so that the class will be interactive enough. All right. I think we can start. Martins.
Yes, Aziz. Hi.
Right. I'm sure you have access to the chat group.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So because I will most likely not be able to see if anyone is raising up his hand and
okay.
I mean, if there
Not
are
a
things
problem.
for
I'll
me.
pick up the questions.
Okay. Good.
All right.
All right. Thanks again for joining and straight into the hands-on class. It's a session that we've tagged Dashboard in an Hour. Certain disclaimer would be that this material belongs to Microsoft, right? And it's a standard training kit for Microsoft Power BI. And I'm glad to share this with you because it means that you are learning the right thing for this purpose. So it's tagged Dashboard in an Hour because from experience, we've looked at this to sort of put you in that average experienced person that should be able to take all of these things that we're about to do in 1 hour. I know we will not be able to do this in 1 hour, but I would implore you to go back to this at your free time and see if you can and complete all of the things on this sheet in 1 hour. Okay. The contents, we have the problem statement, we have the document structure, the prerequisites. The problem statement is just saying what we're about to do. Structure is what the things that you need to put in place. The prerequisites are the things that you need in terms of document structure, rather, is the data sets, what the data means in line with the statement and problem statement. Prerequisites are the things that you need, which is the Power BI app and all. And now going straight into the work. How to get data, how to manage relationships, creating reports, importing reports, how to create dashboards, the natural language processing bit I spoke about, which is the question and answer, how to share your dashboard, and lastly, the mobile app. Yes, going straight into the problem statement. We have a data set, which is the Excel sheets. I don't know, let me just show that briefly. Right, if you can see my screen, let me pop it up one more time. Yes, if you can see my screen, this is the data file that was shared with everyone that has 4 different sheets. The first sheet shows the sales record of a certain organization, which we will talk about when we go back to the problem statement. A 5-column record. The first one is the product ID. So this column 2 is a case scenario. I'll highlight it just so you see what is in column 2. This column 2 says there's a certain product ID that is 560. That 560 would represent a certain item for the organization. So that product was bought on the, I'm interpreting that highlighted record. That product 560 was bought on this 18th of February 2016 at a certain location. That zip is zip code. And that item was, one of the items was just what was bought, and the revenue is $700. Right. And going into the second sheet, we now have a sheet that further describes those items. So for example, this highlighted one is called 560. You can come in here and search the 560, and it tells you that it's a product called Maximus UC25, and it has an urban category and all sorts. The manufacturer is Van Astel, right? Same thing for Geo. That 18th of February 2016, that zip code rather belongs to a certain city in the state and different countries. So all of these tables further describes those IDs that you have there. And lastly, the dates is just another dimension, which I will explain those big words when we start to do all of this thing. That further describes the W's. By the W's, it says the words, the when, the where of all of these occurrences happen. So for example, the very first table is what we call like the facts table. So I think I can just give an insight into what a facts table and a dimension table means. A fact table, the fact table is a table that shows an actual occurrence of an event. So by actual occurrence, we mean the actual figure. What did they buy in terms of quantity, the count, and the revenue? So any table that contains all of these is a fact table. But you must have a relationship that tells the W's. So the W's, I mean, is what did they buy, which is in this case the product. When did they buy it, which in this case for the highlighted one, the 18th of February. And where did they buy it, which is the location. So all of those other dimensions that further describes the actual events, which is the sales, will now be seen in the dimension table. I will explain better when we get there. So for example, the product table is further describing that 560. So it's a dimension table. The geo is a location table that is further describing the zip code. And the date too is also a dimension table that is further describing the 18th of February, be it a Monday, a Tuesday, the quarter it belongs to, and the year that day belongs to. So when you get to the Microsoft Power BI, it it gives you an aggregate of all of those things without you doing so much. Okay. Going into the sheets, we have the problem statement that says the data set that we've just described is provided to give. Okay, 1 second. The data set provided focuses on sales and market share analysis. So this type of analysis is very common for the office of a chief marketing officer. And this office of a chief marketing officer is unlike that of the financial officer, because the marketing officer is focused not only on the performance internally, but how well they are doing with the competing products and organization. So our company, so you are seeing everyone on this call to be a representative of Van Astel that manufactures expensive electronic products. So that 560 is an electronic product, and all of the products that we have there, electronic product that could be used for fun and as well as work. And it sells them directly to consumers in 3 major markets. So Van Astel and its competitors have retained a third-party marketing company. So Van Astel is our client rather, and we are the third marketing company to collect and analyze this sales data so that they can benchmark themselves and know who is doing well and how they are doing with the competing products for other organizations. So sales data along with the product, the dates, the geography are available on the Excel workbook, and data from these sources need to be brought together for us to analyze. So what we are saying is the data set that we have is for a marketing company, is for a manufacturing company rather, that shows the products being sold, the dates that these products are being sold, the location, and all sorts. And we as a marketing company have been tasked to collect this data and analyze it to give a report on. So going to document structure, Power BI has 2 major components. The first one is what we termed as the PBID, and the other one is what we term the PBIS. So what's PBID? PBID stands for Power BI Desktop. And Power BI Desktop is the application that we've sent to you to download and install for the purpose of this class. What it allows you to do is it allows you to author reports. By authoring, I mean create reports. All of those dashboards that you see, you create it. But the standard rule of this PBID is you create once, or one person creates. You create once and you automate so that you can just view the insight until that data set changes. And you also allow one person or a team to create, and the rest of the team or the rest of the organization get insight by just collaborating and sharing this. We'll get there. And the other bit is what we call Power BI service. For the Power BI service, it highlights all of these features in the light of. So for example, in PBID, you create the report and you publish. At the end of the day, you have you have an environment where you can just get and gain those insights. That's place that you gain those insights. So for example, you need a service layer before you see those reports that you create. So I'm creating a report on this laptop. When I publish it to the service. The service is a cloud service that is attached to a certain email, and that is a licensed one. So the one we are looking at today is unlicensed, it's free for all because it allows you to just create the reports. So it's until you are ready to collaborate or share to others so that you can gain and see more analysis of the data that you have as an organization or group of people. That's when you now need to go to Power BI service. That's the licensed one, but you can register for a free version for 6 months. Okay, prerequisite, yes, we've done this and we sent it to everyone. Just get your system ready, install all of these things, and you can sign up to all of these reports to Power BI with a business email address, or just get a 6 months free version. Right. So going straight into it, I at this point, that's where we start to learn the hands-on class. And I think we have just 70 minutes more. So we can just go straight into it. To my right, you see an image. I mean, to the right of the document, the other pane, it's an image, and to the left are different instructions. So what it means is that whatever you are trying to do, your screen should look like what is on the right. So it's a step-by-step guide of this, but I know it will be hard for you to move from this guide and your Power BI desktop. So you can make my own screen to be a guide, because you probably need to see what I'm doing. Ignore this PDF file until you want to have an hands-on training. I mean, you want to test it on your own. So you can make my screen the guide while I just take you through the step. So without wasting so much time, let's just call up the Power BI desktop. So if you have it installed, please open it up. Okay. Right. I hope you can see my screen. Right. So the first thing we want to learn how to do is how to get data from the source system. So our source system in our case is the Excel sheets, if you remember. So the first step is, if you launch it, you should have this yellow screen. You don't need this, it's a pop-up, although you can get data directly from here, but just close it. Just so I just give a brief into what this application is. So if you close it from the top right, sorry, I already closed, you would see like a red to your very top right on the yellow screen. Just close it so that you have the screen. So if you have this, and let me just run you through what we have here quickly before we get to work. First thing first, you have a white canvas area. This big area is where the working area, and just like we have on Excel too, once you exhaust a certain page, you can click the next page to create more insight. But for this big canvas, white canvas, is the only place you have to generate the insight per page. So you have to maximize this as much as you can. That's the first one. The next one where we have filters is, so for example, you're creating a certain visual, or for the entire page that you want it to just only show a certain thing, give you insights into a certain dimension. So for example, you only want to see things around June of a certain year on this page all the time. So you can come here to filter to June and all sorts. Although we have prompts too, where you can just make it dynamic and say, I want to change it to June. If I want it May, I can change it to May. But on the filters, it's just static. I mean, whatever you put there is the final, right? Visualizations. On the visualization pane, here, I've been discussing so many things around the pie chart, the bar chart, and how you can create insight. So when you get here, on this page here, on this pane rather, you have the default, so to speak, visualizations or charts that you can use to get insight into those data. And if you agree with me, there are some charts that are key for a certain area of reporting that you want to do. So for example, if you have a pie chart, if you are trying to represent countries in the world or cities in the world, for example, they are in thousands and you are using pie charts to not make a lot of sense. So for example, but if you want to do top 10, top 10 cities in terms of revenue. Pie chart will give it right because you know that the bigger it is, the more it is. But so all of those things we'll discuss too when we start the actual course. And remember, I said you can do some form of customization. There's some sort of ellipsis, these 3 dots after the entire visualization. When you go there and you do get more visuals, it takes you to the Microsoft website and you can import other visuals that you feel and can speak to what you want to do. Right. Just underneath it, you have 2 buttons. There's the most interesting one is this one that we call format. It's like a paintbrush. So all of those things that you do, especially for the ladies in the house that who likes to do some form of beautiful makeup and all. So you want to put some certain color, the blue, the orange, the red. This is where you go to make all of those formatting. So this brush-like icon gives you that that gives you the ability to do that. So the last one is what we call fields. For now, you see that fields is empty. So all of those Excel on the Excel sheet or even if you want to plug directly from a database, when you import your data in here, it populates this field and it shows them one after the other. So when you put it down, you now see the columns for all of these things. And lastly, to your the top layer shows the basic thing. I'm sure we are familiar with this. Normal help, about us, you want to insert data and all of those things. Just a normal random Microsoft pane. Right. Going straight into this Anton session. I've closed this, so I'm moving to the next item. So we've done 1 to 6. 1 to 6 means launch the Power BI and close it, and you have this. So now we want to get data. I will try as much as possible not to move so fast, just so we're on the same page. Hello? Tayo or Martins?
I check, we can hear you.
Oh, great. So Martins, well, I'm sure you are on top of the questions on the chat group. You know now, I may probably be moving faster than anyone. So if there is a question in the chat group that looks like somebody is not getting what I'm doing, I would like you to just call me to order.
Yeah, so I think Counter to Lufumi wants to get some clarifications.
Okay.
He's asking for a work email. So I think
I've already attended to her.
Okay.
She has a version that has expired on her system. So yes, I'm confused with that anyway.
All right. So like I said, no one should log in right now. You only need to log in at the time where you need to publish to the service. We are working strictly on the desktop. Let's create Insight first before we even publish and before we share and collaborate. So that's the only time you need to sign in. Don't sign in. Just when a pop-up comes, close it. Just so you have a page like this. Okay, so going straight into it, to your top left, another thing I'm going to talk about is, remember I said Microsoft Power BI is a growing community and it gets updated every month as against every year. So this you are seeing is the latest. Let me confirm. This you are seeing on my screen is actually the latest. And if you have downloaded it today or anytime during this month, you have the same screen like me. And the reason is that for me, I downloaded it from the App Store, Microsoft App Store. So when there's internet on my system and there's a new one, it automatically updates it. But if you download it from the website and you are installing that, so it will pick the latest as at that time. But the good part is, even if you are using an old version, you'll be able to do all of these things that we're doing. Just that the button here may be as part of another functionality. But if you run into any issue, I'm sure we can work things out. I mean, just call my attention. If I tell you to go to a certain place and click something and you're not seeing it, please shout so that we can be on the same page. Right. So because of the promise has always been to make it as interactive as possible. If we have to do it again, we must do it just so we know that we've passed the right knowledge. So get data is on the home screen. Just click on get data. So a pop-up will come. Hello? Yes, I think it's for me. Right. I did not click it before. So I've clicked that get data button. I have this page. Remember, during the first presentation, I said we have different source systems where Power BI can get data from. So on this screen, you have the Excel, you can get data from CSV, even text file, PDF, SharePoint, Microsoft SQL Server, IBM, Oracle, Teradata, all sorts, websites, you see, over 100. So once you have a source system that has data embedded in it, you can shoot, right? For our case, it's Excel, so double click on Excel. So go to the environment, where we have the data. In my case, I have it in documents, and I have it, and you double click. You may have your own on downloads, wherever you have your data, the data Excel file that you've installed, you've downloaded from the email. Just navigate to it and double click on it. You should have this page. I'll wait for just maybe 30 seconds. Martins, are you talking?
No. I
Okay.
think there's a bit of a challenge. Sometimes, when you're prompted to create an account, anyone who's having that challenge, you could simply just cancel it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Just cancel
When
it.
you launch Power BI, you could just simply cancel it. Olayinka, you should have an option to cancel it.
Just go down or top right to cancel it, please.
Please carry on, Aziz.
All right. Once you cancel it, click on get data. Okay, for the purpose of those people that are just following through, let me just take it again. You get data from this top left. You click on get data. Yeah. You pick Excel and you pick, you navigate to where you have your data saved. And a page like this pops up. I know we may have one or two gurus in the house, but don't load directly. Please follow this. We've tried to doctor this, to edit and transform this data in a way that would allow us to probably share some of the knowledge around data mashups, data cleaning. So I know typically from this level, most people will just load. In our case, we are not loading. We want to edit this data just so you learn how to change something, delete something, to do some manipulations like delete, insert, or update. So please, I'm begging, kindly follow the steps. Right. So in this case, when you have this screen, please check. There's a checkbox per sheet. Please check the 4 of them. Once you check them, you will have a preview view. You have a preview of those images to your right. Check the 4 of them until you see a yellow background, right, for all of the 4. And when you have the 4, please do not load. Click on transform data. If you are using an old version, it may tell you edit data. So it's the same thing. The middle button here to your left, to your down right, click on transform data. A pane should pop up. So let's see if you are still following the right. Exactly. So you see even on the screen is edits that you have. So edit it and let's go on. Okay. Once you edit it, let me just walk us through what you have on the screen. To your top left are the 4 things you're about to edit, the 4 tables that you are about to load, and the things you want to edit is there. And this is the screen for each of them. And to your top right, you have steps. So for example, if I do anything, I delete, I update, I insert, it shows as a step here. So if it's probably a mistake, I can undo by just clicking the X sign. So hold on, when we do this, when we do one of those changes, you'll see. So first thing first, to your top left, please highlight dates. Under the queries for, click on dates, so that the first thing we want to do is to work on the date table. For Excel lovers and especially people that have worked on Excel before, you know, there are some times where you have a number column appearing as a text, but you already know that what is contained in that column is text. You can change the data type from text to number. So how do we do that? Highlight. So for example, on my screen, you have a column with yellow background, which is date. Click on it. So, and come to this area here. Let me do. Hold on, so that you know what I'm talking about. Can you see this highlighted part? That it shows the data type. So if you drop it, if you click on it, for instance, in your case, if it is not date, if it's showing date stroke time, please make sure it is date. Just pick date. So that's how to change the data type. In the case of month number, it should change to its data type, which is old number. Don't change anything unless, so for example, make sure date is date. Right. Moving on, there's a column, the 4th column, not month name, please. Month, ordinary month. Click on it and make sure the yellow sign is on month, not on date anymore. If you look at it, it's just is a constant column, which is just 15th of January 2016. There's no insights that we want to do. We purposely put it there just so we can show you how to delete some of the things that you do not want, because all of this Excel and the data source that we are moving in, once you've moved it in here, it has nothing to do with the Excel again. But you do not want to move jargons or unnecessary document, because at the end of the day, the heavier the file that you've created, the slower it will become when you want to view them at the service layer, right? So for this month, we are saying we do not need it. We want to delete it 2 ways. Is either you click on remove columns here, or you just right click on the header here to say remove. It will take it out. If you've done that successfully, you will not see anything like month again. For the date table, you only see 5 columns, which is date, month number, month name, quarter, and year. See, if you now go to your apply steps, if you've done the wrong thing, you can remove it by clicking on remove columns. You know, I just removed a column. So if that was the wrong step, I can undo. It will bring it back. So I'm back with the month column. But that was the right step. I can go ahead to remove it. That's one. And let's say we are done with the date table. On the product table, we don't have anything to do with it. So we already put something on the product table too that we want to edit. And click on the product table and go to the 2nd column. For the 2nd column, we have what we call products. But in most cases, our end users have different needs. So in this case, we are saying, why are the names concatenated with numbers? I only want strings. If it's maximum RP, I want to see it as maximum RP. I don't want to see it as maximum RP 01 or maximum RP 02. And if you check the pattern of this, there's a name that is being separated by an hyphen, a dash before the number. So you want to be able to separate this thing into two different columns. So what we want to do is we want to split this column product into two different columns in such a way that you will have, in the case of maximum RP, you have the text in one side and have the number on the other side. How do we do that? Make sure you highlight that, as I have just done. You will see split column. Click on it. So there's a delimiter, and in our case, the delimiter is a hyphen, which is dash. So it's asking, how do you want to split it? Are you splitting by delimiter? Are you splitting by number of characters? By number of characters, it may be that I only want to just pick the fourth character to the next character, just like a substring. You want to pick a part of the string. You want to pick by position and not. In our case, we already know it's a delimiter. So delimiter means it could be a comma. You want to separate by comma. You want to separate by a pipe. You want to separate by a dash, percentage, and all sorts. So the delimiter option, once you click on delimiter option, you get a pop-up. So the pop-up looks like this, and it will ask you you should enter the certain delimiter that you want. So if you click on this, it will tell you the different delimiters that is default with Microsoft Power BI. So there's a column, there's a comma, there's an equal sign, there's a semicolon and space, and also tab. So all of these do not belong to what we want, so you can do a custom. So select custom, and when you get to custom, you have to now identify what the delimiter is. In our case, just that minus sign, just dash, hyphen. That's what we want to use to separate the field, and you click on OK. Right. If you notice, there's no more concatenation. I mean, the number is not attached with the text again. So you now have what we call products 1 and product 2, right? For the purpose of what we are doing, we do not even need that product 2 at all. We do not need the number. So from the knowledge of removing columns, you can go ahead to remove product 2. Right? And also the name is now product.1. Yet we do not want that. So we want to teach you how to rename a column. So a column could be called store on the source system. And when you get to target, you want to rename it to be what? Store name. So that's similar to what we are doing here. It has product.1. Just double click on it to highlight it and remove the .1 suffix. So you've been able to rename successfully. Without wasting so much time, to the top left, you will see an icon called Close and Apply. If you want to click on it or drop it, you will have 3 different categories. The first one is what we call Close and Apply.
Sorry, Aziz, I've got a question. Yeah, so I mean, in real life, we see scenarios where we rename a table on Power BI,
right.
whilst on the source data, it's a different name. And when you do that a whole lot, and somebody else or other people have to work on the reports that you have built, and they have to make changes, and they need to trace back to source.
Right.
It is sometimes confusing. Is there any way to keep track of or double check or the reference data?
Absolutely.
So that one can easily verify. Yeah.
Oh, good question. And I'm glad it's coming from you, because it means that we can further show show what you can get from all of this Microsoft Power BI. So going straight into it and giving you a response. On this page that we have, you can get, even if you change anything, I'm talking about the name for example, where we have product, if you change it to say anything, you can change it to my name, say maybe Aziz. There's a place you can go that would show you the source where you have the exact file and what it is. So where do you go? There's an advanced editor here, just underneath the properties. Okay. Can you see my mouse here? Yes, advanced editor. Once you click on it, it will show a bunch of HTML code. If you look closely, to show you the location of the file. So it means that it's in my drive C under a folder, users, blue chip, this, and that, and you get the data out. So you can now go to the data to check the actual name and all. Once that name has not been changed on the source system, you can easily get that name back. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Many thanks.
All right. So,
sorry, I'd like to ask. I could notice some of the text there highlighted red. So does that mean any edited file will be highlighted red? Any edited line?
No. So I've gone back there. I don't know if you can see my screen. So anyone that is red is just like saying it's either a column name or a table name. So the things that the black ones are default codes from Power BI. So the red ones are things that has to do with. So for example, if the location of that file, if it changes from my document to desktop, I can change this guy and give it that name.
Okay.
And give it the right path. So this, right. Okay. So under
thank you.
What?
Aziz, can you hear me? I have a question, please. When you did that split columns,
right?
That split column, is it like the same function as replace, like control replace, like in Excel, where you want to replace a particular text or whatever? Is that what you did with that split columns? Because I can see that when you did that split columns, everything with dash and the digits there were replaced to empty.
Okay, not exactly same as replace, but you can use replace to do it, just like you can use replace to do it on SQL too. So, but because it's going to be, they do not have, the reason why you cannot use replace in this context is they do not have the same suffix. Let me undo so I explain that bit. If I undo these two, right. So you see, if the suffix, that the numbers after the text are same. So you have 01, there's no 02, there's no 03. I can replace the 01 with null. I'll be fine. But in this case, there are different numbers per record. So what you do in this case is split. Since there's a pattern, and what's the pattern? They are concatenated by a delimiter, and this delimiter in this case is an hyphen. So you just take it off by that hyphen. So that hyphen will become a delimiter, and you know that is what you use to pad two texts together. So separate it so that you can have two different things that you want to work with. Okay. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah, I did.
All right. So let me go back to split column by delimiter, and custom do dash, it splits it into two, all things being equal. And the way we are going, I'm sure we'll not be able to even finish this, which is good. It means that we can have a refresher before the classwork tomorrow. So I take this product 2 off, and also go to the product 1. I highlight it so that I can give it the right name, which is product. So quickly, I was talking about this close and apply. If you come to close and apply, you have three things. You have close and apply, you have apply, you have close. Close and apply means close this page, I'm done editing, and apply. Apply means save. Close this page, I'm done editing and save. Apply only means save. I'm still checking things that I want to edit. Close means close this page. I don't want to save all of the things. I just came to check. So in our case, we've done things that are valid, and we would like to save before we want to save and continue with our work. So in our, just choose close and apply and move. So once you do that, it goes ahead to apply those changes and load. Remember I said, if you do not, you don't have to do this step all the time. At the point of loading this table, if there are no things you want to change, you are sure that what is coming from Excel is final. Instead of clicking on data transformation, transform data, you would load directly. So you'll probably be saying, where's the effect of what you've done? If you go to your top right, which is to the far right, sorry, which is this, you will see it was empty before. Now it has loaded before. Whatever you do now is not going to change anything from the Excel sheet. You have your data sets now, you can play with it, do anything you want to do with it. So if I come here now and I drop this down, you will see all of the columns that we have for each of those systems. So I'm glad to tell you that we've concluded the first part of this whole webinar, the session, which says getting data. So if you look at what we have, we've been able to edit, remove column, and split data, and now we want to do relationships. This is an exciting one, and I want you to pay a whole lot of attention. You see, for example, if you did not have a date table, which are the dimensions like I explained, the dimensions is the date, the geo, and product, and we only had the sales. There's no way we can get revenue by country, because on the sales table, there's nothing like country. It's only zip that we have. So for example, if you want to see the country that is giving you the most revenue, you will not know just by zip. So there's a need for you to join this sales table to the geo table on the zip code, so that you probably can intelligently roll up all of the IDs that belong to each of the countries and give you an insight based on the data that you have. So that area is what we call relationship. But the good gist, right, is that these two automatically creates relationships for you. But there are two basic rules to it for you to have this, to have Power BI create the relationships for you. And please pay attention. First thing first is that the name of, the header, the column header of the column that you want to join from the fact to the dimension are same. I'll repeat. The name of the first table is the same with the name of the second table. And not all, the two conditions must be met. And the content of the first column is the same as the second column. I'll repeat. Let me explain this content first before I repeat the two rules. The content being that if I have a column that is date on the facts, and I also have a column that is date on the date table. If I have 18th of February and 19th of February, let's say we only have two records. And on the other dates, I have 30th of June, 31st of July. Power BI has a way to automatically detect that the contents are different. By content, I mean there's nothing common in between the two columns. It will not create a relationship for you automatically. And also data type is important, but that's not even it. It has a way of automatically converting all of those things. So what I'm saying is the name, the header must be the same. So if you want Power BI to do the relationship for you, it has to be in those two formats. So let me explain again. The column header must be same. and the content of each of those columns must be the same thing. I mean, what is contained in one some of those data in one must be contained in other for it to create relationship. However, you have where you can manage relationships to say, no, this relationship is wrong. As much as they have the same thing, this I do not need this. Another very, 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 very important thing, and I think a lot of people get it wrong here, is that you must make sure you have all relationships in place. By that, there's a rule to that. If you have n numbers of table, please, I'm sorry that I'm taking, because after this, we'll not be discussing all of this again. We'll just go straight to it and get inside. But if you do not understand all of these basic things, you end up seeing your chart going nuts while the regular chart is supposed to be south or even to just stay in the middle, right? So what you're saying is, for you to create relationships, if you have n numbers of tables, you must at least have n-1 relationships. I'll take it again. If you have n numbers of tables, I mean different objects, in our case we have 4, at least you must have 3 relationships. Let me explain. There's a sales table, and I want to create a relationship between this table. It means that it's either there's sales to product, sales to geo, and sales to date, at least. In some cases, there may even be a relationship between date and geo. I don't know if you get that. So if you now check your relationships and you do not have at least up to 3, you can have more than 3, it's fine. Because like I said, each of those tables too, that the fact is connected to may have things in common, just so you get your insight from those two. So you must have at least n-1 relationship before you can now get insight. So for example, you want to do things that I will show you later about cross-filtering. You are seeing your top performing countries by revenue, and those ones that are performing, you want to end up to even see how they've done month on month. You can see month on month is coming from dates, country is coming from geo. So it means that there must be relationship. So once everything is connected to one big one, the big one here is the sales, because the sales that is bringing them together is one that has actual occurrence, and all of those 3 are just telling you the W's, where it happened, when it happened, and what transaction happened, which is the product. So having said that, we'll go straight into managing relationships. Remember what I said, Power BI creates automatically based on subsetting rule, but you want to confirm if Power BI has created. In our case, we must see 3. When we are not seeing 3, there's a problem. So going up here, you'll see this. Manage relationships. So click on it. You have a pop-up. You'd see Power BI created two relationships for you. And remember, there's a certain rule that says it must be n-1. In our case, it has to be at least 3. So it means that you now have to look closely to see the ones I did not create for you. So you see, he has created a relationship between sales and products. That's created again between sales and geo, but it's yet to create between sales and dates. So you go ahead to click on new to create that yourself. When you create on new, you do a drop down on the first highlighted, the first pane, drop down. You select sales. Once you select sales, it will give you a preview of the content of that table, because you want to connect it to dates. So which one of them has a dates column? I think it's the second one. You highlight that one. What this means is, this is the column that relates to the dimension table. The other one, you drop it down and you select what? Dates. Once you select dates, you highlight dates also. And it automatically gives you like a cardinality. What cardinality means is, on the sales table, that occurrence of that date is many on the sales table, but on the date table is just 1. So let me explain. You know, you can have different, let me show you on Excel so that you get what we are saying. On the sales table, you'll see clearly these highlighted parts they are not, it doesn't mean it's a duplicate, but there are many occurrences of 18th of February. Why? Because different products are being bought that day at different locations. But if you go to the date table, you will only see 18th of February once. What it means is that on this date table, it's just further describing this 18th of February to be the month, second month in the year. The name of the month of 18th of February is February, is in quarter one, and it's in the year 2016. That's what it means. So you cannot see 18th of February repeating twice on dimension. So Power BI knows how to get out this cardinality. Once it sees the occurrences, to map this. So you don't have to touch anything here. Just select the join conditions and click OK. When you click OK, it pops up and you have your three relationships in place. And once you've done that, close this, and I'm happy to tell you we are done with all forms of creating and doing this. So we want to just go straight to when you now start to, where it will start to interest you. By that I mean you see the colors, the dashboards, and insights into the data that we want to create. So let me just check this section, the chat box, if I have questions I need to. You did not, Olufumi, what do you mean that you do not have auto cardinality? You should have it. Okay, moving on. We've been able to do the relationships, so now we can do create reports. We can now create reports. So at the end of the day, you must be able to, your screen should look like what we have on the down right. I mean, you should be able to create these reports and more. So let me see the chat screen. Okay. Olaide, last relationship was not created. Make sure you, let me go back there. So I think some people are having issues creating. You must highlight, let me see. Go to modeling and create manage relationships. When you create manage relationship and you do not have anything in here, click on new. I mean, if the sales to date. So you highlight, when you choose the table, don't just choose it. On the preview link, make sure you click on the column you want to join by and ensure that the background is gray. Oh, okay, I get that. So I think she's saying it was not created automatically. Yes, it's a thing of date formats. If you check it closely, it will look like it's the same, but the way we've done it, just so you see how to create relationship yourself. You didn't pick it automatically because of date format. Remember I spoke about it, that the format must be same in some case, but date is like a stubborn data type. So that's why I did not create it automatically. Okay. Now we want to take creating reports. So in this section, we will create a report that will help the Office of CMO to analyze the sales revenue across all manufacturers for the year 2017. Please take note that typical requirements, I mean, from the end users come like this. It's just, they don't want to know, they don't want to care how you get things done. Just give me the sales revenue across all manufacturers for the year 2017. And the report at the end of this section should look like what we have to the right. Right. So the standard that I particularly follow is to even picture all of this. In some cases, I even sketch out. But now that it's just the webinar, I'll just take you through it. By the way, I've been doing this for over 8 years, and I'm glad to inform you all that I have been part of teams who have been involved in large and huge. Hello, Martins, please, can you hear me?
Please, we can hear you.
All right, great. Yes, so I've been part of the team that have been involved in building a BI and enterprise data warehouse platform for the likes of GT, MTN Cameroon, MTN Nigeria, Nine Mobile, top tier banks, Old Diamond, Access Bank. So I'm trying to say all of these things that the way I've seen us, I mean, in terms of the team and the way we've done some of these things, I think it may be different from the way you see it out there, but maybe from experience, I think it's faster because there will be different people, the way they will write their codes or create all of these reports. But the best way is just make sure you get it out there, because the difference between this organization A in terms of end user and organization B is the ability for you to quickly get inside just so you be ahead of your game. So for example, after we built the data warehouse for GT, for instance, it was you see that GT started the USSD game, and when they started, it was the insight they got from the data warehouse that we built that they noticed majority of the customers going into banks, and till now they still even have the problem of congestion. Going into banks, do transaction less than 20K. So they needed to get a channel where all of those customers can just do the transaction right into it. So what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, they were quick to tap into it, and I want to still believe Star 737 is still number one in the game for USSD. So what summary of that is, find a way to do all of these things faster, because a lot of people are thinking ahead, and you have to just make sure. And the same way is applicable to creating all of these dashboards and all. BI is a continuous thing, because there will be several years ago there was nothing like BVN. Now that there's BVN, what exactly can you get from BVN? Because it shows a unique representation of a certain customer and all. So just be out there and do it the faster way. So straight into it, we want to create a dashboard, and it says 2017 reports for the CMO. So first thing first, filtering. So if you come to this first column, fifth row, which is this. Sorry, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to create any measure. Okay, you see this highlighted, click on it, this highlighted visuals, click on it, you have something like this. So what it means is we want to filter, we want to slice whatever we put on this page to 2017. So drop your dates, your own may look like this. Just click on this arrow to drop it and check the dates column. You should have a slicer. You should have a slicer, and that slicer should look like from the first day of 2016 to the last day in 2017. Does this speak to 2017? No. This is 2 years. It means for the entire year in 2016 and the entire year in 2017, because the from is a band. It's showing you a slicer of band between January 1, 2016 and what 31st December 2017. But the requirement says, I just want to see 2016. So what you do is, once you click on this, change the from to January 1 and change the year to 2017. So you have everything, once you do this, any other thing that you put on this dashboard is automatically talking to what? 2017. So you can, once you've done that, you see, I have, you see these highlighted parts where I said you have the formatting icon where you can, like a paintbrush, that you can do all sorts. Make sure your date prompt is highlighted and you click on it. So this is where you can do all sorts. Change background in my case. Once you drop the background, you can change the color to blue or whatever color that you desire. Change the transparency. You can give it a title. You can see for this blue, you have you can't see the content, the inputs is now black. Black doesn't sit well on blue. You can go and change the color of that one to which is the font color. Go to date input. In my case, I've changed it to white. Also, there's a slicer header, which is the one that is showing dates. I can decide to put it off and switch on the title so that I can give it a title of choice, as this is whatever, type in anything, you can see. It's giving me a font color of black. It's not legible. I'm changing it to white. You see that? But in my case, let me give it the right name, date prompt. After I've given it date prompt, I can centralize, I can increase font, I can do all sorts. Without wasting so much time on that, you see what I just did. Make sure it's highlighted and reduce it to the barest minimum, because this is not, it is not showing any insight yet. It's just giving us, it's just giving.
I know we're really pressed for time and we're really behind on schedule.
Right.
The Abibat seems to be lost. If you could just go back to how you did the filter for the dates column, like how you created this.
Okay.
You don't need to start fresh, but just
so right. I said this. You first thing first, you click on this slicer. Right? Once you click on it, you have a pop-up like this one. Forget the blue that you have up there. You have a pop-up like this. So it's waiting for the column that you want to slice. In my case, I want to slice the date column. Come here, drop it down, and check the date column under date. Once you've done that, you can now come to this other part. This part. Once you click on it, you can now do the coloring and all here, the background, the date input, and all sorts. So is that okay?
Okay. Yes, please carry on.
Okay. All right, I'm seeing a question. What's the essence of slicing? Right, going back to what we're about to do, right? The requirement says we are interested in only 2017. You may have more than that information in your data on the data sets. So you want to slice it to your desired. So it may even be just May. You're filtering. Slicing is just for filtering. You want to filter your report to a certain just so you get the insight based on what is required. So end user wants just 2017, and we have both 2016 and 2017 data there. So at the end of the day, you are now making slicing makes it dynamic. If you want to make it static, you just come to this filter part and filter it there. But slicing, you may decide to say, okay, I want to see it, I want to extend it to 2019, 2018. All you just need to do is either you slice this guy, you see, or you just pick your choice. Okay, right. It's here. I mean, you can move it around, but normally filters, title headers, and logo is meant to be up there. Right, so I would like to create the reports now, and we can take questions after. So because it would be nice to create at least 1 or 2 visuals before tomorrow. Okay. The first one is, now that we've created this, we want to analyze the sales by month for 2017. Sales by month for 2017. So see, please pick these visuals. We want to do a trend of month on month. So pick these visuals, the 5th column, 2nd row. I think the name is line and clustered column chart. Yes. Select it. Oh no. Please. Apologies for not saying this. Once you are done with one visuals, click on anywhere on the white canvas, just so you do not override. You don't override what you've done a step before the next one. So click on white canvas and now select that chart. Once you select the chart, it will give you a sample of what that chart you selected is. So what do we want to do? Revenue by month name. Under date, select month name. You now go to sales, select revenue. Did you get that? So what we want to do is we want to see month-on-month performance of the organization, irrespective of the product, irrespective of the location, the company as a whole, Van Astel. How did they do January to June? What this means is only January to June that we'll have on the data set for 2017, right? And also, we now, as we are seeing the revenue, we want to see the performance of the units too, the count of products sold month on month too. In that case, just check, it's either you check the unit or you drag and drop. But once you check it, it's not doing the right thing. Why? Because the scale of units is very, very slow compared to revenue. So you can plot it so that it has its own scale separately as a line. So what do? You drag the units to line values. Let me take it again. I will click on units, drag and drop on line values. Or if I check the units, it automatically takes it to column values. Make sure it's only revenue that is under column value. Just drag it and drop it on line value. Does that make sense? But I see a problem. We already know how the month of the year is being represented. We know January is before February, but the way it has, you can expand it. In case you are not seeing my screen, I can expand. I will reduce later. The way it is representing this is saying maybe March before April. You will see that it's sorting it by revenue. But if you do not want it this way, the way trend is supposed to be is month on month. What did I do in January, next to February, next to March? So to do that, you come to this ellipsis. You just come here, 3 dots, these 3 dots on top of the visuals. Go to sort by. You will see it is sorting it by what? Revenue. No, I want to sort it by month name. So you click on month name. That's changed it, and it's showing. It's still not showing the way we want it, which is M before J. Is showing it in descending order. No, I want it in ascending. Go back to that same place. Don't go to sort by. Just select sort ascending. At the end of the day, it's sorting in ascending way, but not still the way we want it. It's sorting in ascending way based on text, A before B before C. But that's not the way we want it. We want January before February. And how do we do that? Okay, please pay attention. To do that, you have to tell the system that January is the first month, February is the second month. If you check the Excel sheet, we have a column called month number for dates, which is the second column. Anywhere you see January is 1. If you go all the way down, if you see December is 12. So we'll use that column to sort the name. And how do we do that? Highlight the month name under date. Highlight it. By highlight, I mean just click on it like this. Once you click on it, watch out for this icon, right? And what it means is what? Sort one column by the content of another. If you click on it, it will ask you to do month number. So select month number. Can you see? So clearly you can see that March was the best month, from January to February to March and so on. There are different things you can do. On the face of this, you are not seeing the figures, but you can only see the bar is representing it in a certain way. So just go ahead, go back to our normal, our precious button, which is format. Click on it. Once you click on it, you see data labels is off. You can decide to switch it on. Just so on the face, you can say what the figure is like. So this is what I'm saying. I'm placing it back. Although even at that level, if you do not do show data figure, data labels, if you do some hovering, I mean over your mouse around the chart, it will show you the exact figure for the month as against this. The video is obstructing the icons on the far right. Oh, you can minimize that. I can't even see myself. There's no video on my screen. Avi, so you can take it off. Okay, so we are going to create another chart just before we go. We will create a chart of, so we are done with this. You can see we went through the whole sorting that we did. Now we want to create a chart of, let's create a visual to represent the sales by manufacturer. Remember the standard rule. We are done with this. You can decide to put background though. You can decide to put background if you so choose to do background. Don't mind my color.
I check, Aziz. I think.
Yes.
I check, Aziz. Aziz, I think you're biking. Yes.
All right, okay. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I was just talking. I didn't know. Okay. Apologies. Can you see my screen?
All right. Yes, we can. We can hear you clearly. I think Simi has something to chip in a bit. So if you, perhaps once you're done, if you could spare a few seconds for her to come in.
Yeah. I got that. Yeah. I got that. Once, we should be done in 10 minutes or so. Once we are done, I'm just going to bring her in to do that. So I said before you create the next one, once you are done with this, you can just click on the white canvas, right? Just so whatever you're doing next will not interrupt the other one. So we want to create a chart, this one here, this tree map, the last column, third row, which is the 6th column, third row, click on it. And we are doing revenue by manufacturer. So revenue will come from sales and manufacturer will come from products. So you check manufacturer from products and you check revenue from sales. Once you do that, you have this. So for example, let me just place this by the side and I take us through an interesting feature that we'll call cross-filtering before we call it a day. Right. Now, what this means is clearly Van Astel is the highest manufacturer of all of the products that we have. Because it's taking, if you look at the bigger it is, that's what this chart means. It's a trimmer. The bigger it is, the more of the attribute you are looking at representing. So here you are representing revenue by a manufacturer. It means that Van Astel as a manufacturer has about half of this based on the rectangle that we have. So that's what we have. And in the end, you know, we have two charts. First one is revenue by manufacturer, and we have the other one, revenue and units by month name. You may need to now get more insights to say, for Van Astel, how did they do month on month for the year 2017? How do you do that? As against even having prompts, you can do what we call cross-filtering by only just clicking Van Astel. If you notice, as I click Van Astel, there's an effect on the other charts. That's what we call cross-filtering. So the shaded part is the highlighted part from where, you know, I highlighted Van Astel. So the shaded part on every other chart on that page is the highlighted part of the is the actual report of the highlighted part. So I've clicked on Van Astel. If you hover your mouse around it, it's saying Van Astel did 2.3 out of the entire 4.8 that we did for the month of March. If you go ahead to June, it's saying the same Van Astel did about 2 million out of it, almost 4 million did for the month of June. And it's bi-directional. So for example, this revenue is by month name. You can decide to say, for the month of May, Van Astel generally may be the best, but maybe there's a certain month. Let's see, for this month of March, that is the highest. Who did the most? So you can highlight this. How did they do? You see? So the shaded parts. So for the month of March, Van Astel did 2.3 out of the entire 11.3 for all of the months. Same thing for January and so on. So I don't know if we should take questions now. Be sure that we'll do a revision of this before we go into the, I mean, I'll recap all of things that we've discussed before now, before we take it off from here and conclude tomorrow. I hope it's been quite educative and impacting, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed speaking to you all. So I have my colleague on member and volunteer, Simisola, and has one or two things to discuss with you all. Simi, over to you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Aziz.
Yes.
Sorry, I'll suggest we take questions first before.
Yes. Okay. A nice one, Gavin. All right. So we can take questions now, but before we take questions, please, I would it would be nice if you can save this so that you won't have to create all of this again. Just the basic way, you can do Ctrl+S or save. So you can save this and give it a name and put it in a certain location of choice. So, all right, questions? You have the floor.
Hello, hi Aziz. Thank you so much. Hello. My name is Obina. Thank you so much for everything so far. Okay, I was able to create the two charts. The first one with the line and clustered column, and then the other one with the tree map. It's just that I can't seem to see any colors. So I've selected the revenue, selected units for the first one, but there's no color showing. It's just showing me a white screen. I don't know if there's something I missed out.
Showing you a white screen.
Yes.
Did you highlight?
I can see the units. I can see the writings, but I can't see the colors and the bars.
Okay. First thing first. Highlight this chart the way I've highlighted it. You know, so that you have that edge, the rectangular sign. Now go to formats.
Okay.
Is your chart showing? I mean, do you have charts like this? What kind of color do you want to put? Is it the color for the bars or the background color? Which of the colors?
The background is white, and that's all I'm seeing. I'm just seeing white. So I can't. Maybe the bars are white.
Okay, I see.
So that's why.
Oh no, the bar is not white. It means you've not done the right thing. So Obi,
okay.
See, do you have all of these three checked? Look at this. Okay, let me do another form of annotation. Look at this one. Can you see them?
Yes.
This,
month, name,
2, revenue, and units. Do you have these three highlighted?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Sure?
Yes, I do.
And okay, another thing, Obi. Did you select these charts? 5th row,
yes.
5th column.
That's the one I selected, line and clustered column charts.
Yes. So, right. So the last one, I think this is where you now this will resolve the issue. Do you have your units here, or is with revenue?
Okay. Under fields, right?
Yes. Go to fields. This part here.
The unit is under line values.
Revenue. Where is revenue?
I already lifted it and put it there, just like you instructed.
Where is revenue?
Revenue is under column values.
Okay. You know what we'll do? I'm going to just quickly make you the host, and when you're done, you do the same back.
Yeah, you can just present his screen. Let's see what is.
Okay, so I'm working on the laptop, but I'm using my phone for Zoom.
Your phone, okay.
Okay.
So you can take it offline.
Yes. So maybe just do an email. Yeah, do an email. Do a screenshot of your setup, just as it appears on Aziz's screen. You could just take a screenshot, send it to training@techforcharities.org, and someone would get back to you.
Is that fine, Obi?
Yes, I'll do that. I'll do that.
All right.
Thank you.
Ademola has had his hand up. Ademola, you can just simply unmute your mic and share your question.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ademola. I want to say thank you for this session. It's been very informative. My question is this. Now, for Power BI, I want to know, because most times when you get data sources, most times it's not in a clean format that you can work with. Now, I want to ask that, can Power BI also do most major of the data cleaning exercise that you probably have to do in Python? Or can you just have the data and import it to Power BI and do data cleaning instead of having to clean in Python first? Can Power BI do that?
Okay. Good question, Ademola. Yes, Power BI can do all forms of. So if you go back to the edit mode, you will see remove duplicates, change this, do all sorts of data cleansing techniques. However, the standard approach that I mean, my advice always is to ensure that you do all sort of data modeling and cleaning at the level of database, because the truth is that the language that data understands the most is SQL. So if you have the basic knowledge of SQL, and of course the data is either coming from a structured database or it's coming from semi-structured, or unstructured, which is coming from maybe social media files or folders. So the straight answer is yes, Power BI can do it. But if you have the skills to do it at the level of DB level and maybe the open source technology like Python and R, yes. Does that clarify?
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Ademola. Any other question, please?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hi Aziz. Yeah, I've been following what you've been doing for a while now. And is there? I'm trying to still get the difference between this Power BI and Excel, because when you also talked about relationship, I was trying to figure out relationship is almost the same thing as VLOOKUP in Excel, and all these things can also be done on Excel. Is there any significant? Is there any big difference between this and Power BI and Excel?
Okay, great question, David. And the response, first in Microsoft Excel, is a fundamental BI tool, but it's very, very far from Microsoft Power BI because it is not as robust as Power BI. First thing first, Microsoft Excel has limited capability when it comes to the engine, storage of data. One. Number two, we have over 100 connectors on Microsoft Power BI. You do not have that on Microsoft Excel. Number three, the charts on Power BI has gone even beyond 3D. Excel is far from it. Another thing, I can go on and on, automation. So remember, there's a service layer. I can show you on my mobile. Hold on a second. So there's a mobile view. There's a mobile view where you can. 1 second. I just about to show you. Where you can just create dashboard and you publish to the service, connect, make sure you sign in with your email address and password, and right on your mobile, you just get, I don't know if it's showing.
Yeah, I can see. I can see.
You can't do this with Excel. It's just this Excel was not built largely to solve all of these BI needs. So for the third wave, Excel cannot do this. Just that, because of the worldwide adoption of Excel, we've tried not to take it off the space.
Okay.
Does that clarify?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, David. Any other question, please? Okay.
Okay, so I guess in the absence of any or any further questions, Aziz, if you could stop sharing your screen so I could put forward what Simi wants me to present. Share the page which she wants me to present. Just a quick recap. So, I'm
going to make you the host. Martins, hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes, we can hear you.
Well, okay.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Simi. I think everyone will agree with me when I say this has been one packed session, and thank you, Aziz, for this. Okay, so as our name implies, Tech for Charities, we are a non-profit tech outfit, and we are constantly looking for ways to give back to the community, and we can only do that if we have the most important backing, and that's human resources. So we would love for you to join us as volunteers. We promise there will be no stress and no hassle at all. I will be pasting a link in the chat box where you can sign up. Yes. So basically, we are gathering a pool of IT proficients and volunteers to help us out when we have projects, of course, non-profit projects, charitable projects. So that way, you are giving back to the community, you are being charitable, and you get to practice all those courses you've most likely done on Udemy, EDX, and the likes. So we would be very grateful if you can sign up, be one of our volunteers. And okay, part of the perks of being a volunteer is you get to know firsthand when we have other webinars like this, because there will be subsequent ones after this. So please, please, and please sign up, and please, share, sign up, share, donate if you can. And honestly, we have a bias towards women, so we would be glad if you can tell your female IT people if they could sign up too. We appreciate everybody and we welcome everyone. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Simi. And just to add, really exciting projects that are coming up. A good thing about volunteering, it would give you access to play with technologies that you probably read of or you probably heard of from webinars like this. So this is an opportunity to also get your hands dirty. There are a lot of very, very exciting projects that I'm sure most of us would want to get our hands involved in. Typically, volunteering gives you an opportunity to build a profile as well. So whether it's paid for or not, as long as you've been part of a project, we've got projects on cloud projects, on Azure, on AWS and the like. So you get first-hand experience on all of this, and also get a feel of what it's like in the real world for some of us. So that's a wrap for me. Gabriel, Tayo, I know you guys are in there. Don't know what you guys, if you guys have something to add.
Hello. Yeah, I'd like to mention. Hello.
Mic check.
We can hear you. We can hear you, Gabriel.
Yeah. Okay. I would like to briefly state that this, as far as we're concerned, the plan is to enrich people technically on how to, of course, grow profile and all that. And we have another training that will be coming up pretty soon. I think first week in August. So we hope you guys would watch this space and, of course, follow us and tell people, a lot of other people to join us and come and enjoy the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. I think we've come to the end of this. There was a spill of say 14 minutes. I think we started about 7-8 minutes.
Sorry, Aziz. I'm going to appeal for a refresher. There's a bunch of people who couldn't make it today. So I would appeal if you could help spend a few minutes tomorrow to just get them up to speed.
Sure. That's like I said, we would have. I will spend some time doing a recap before we jump into the plan for tomorrow. So thank you everyone. Thank you for sparing your precious time to join us.
Someone is asking if they can have access to the recording.
Okay.
For people that were not able to join today.
Okay. Yes. I'm sure Tayo and Martins will get that sorted.
Yes, we'll work on that and give feedback tomorrow, during the session tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Same time tomorrow, 12 noon. See. All right. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.